Welcome, ladies, to the Real Estate Investor Show, providing inspiration, strategies, and insight to empower women investors to live balanced and financially free lives. Now, here are your co-hosts, Liz and Andresa.
Welcome back, ladies. This is Liz.
And this is Andresa.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Investor Show mini-sode edition, where 10 minutes or less, we share an important topic, something to do with real estate investing, business strategies, or self-care, our three pillars that we do everything around, right, Andresa?
Mm-hmm.
So we are on a mini-sode and we have time is of the essence. So let's jump into a very important and fun topic. I guess how you look at it, due diligence.
It depends. You can discover so many things during that period.
It's fascinating. Absolutely.
All right, Liz, we're going to talk about due diligence, right?
Love it.
So due diligence is a very crucial period between the time that you get the property under contract and a couple of sometimes 15, 30 days, 45 days that you're going to do your due diligence, meaning you're going to check the facts that were presented to you and discover new fun, many times it's not that fun, information about the property, the tenants and everything around it, just to make sure the numbers match everything. It's tight before you close. So we can go on and on here with an entire list of things that you should consider, but we only have 10 minutes. So I picked a couple of items that you must have it, right? That does not mean for the people that are listening, oh, but you didn't talk about X, Y, and Z. I just don't have the time right now for this episode. So I'm going to focus on 5 items that you should consider when evaluating a property. And let me do a pause over here. When you are evaluating a single family property is very different than when you're evaluating a multifamily, when you're evaluating an apartment complex. So it has different levels. But let's, for the purpose of this mini-sode, let's think about small multis, duplexes and triplexes, that type of property, right? So the first thing that I will look at, right, it's asking for information from the seller. And Liz, I cannot tell you how many times I hear people saying, well, the realtor gave me this information. That does not mean, I'm not bashing realtors or anything else, but it is your job to verify the information to make sure that everything that you are getting was not created in order to organize, because many times those properties are being run by mom and pops and they don't have a good system in place, which is totally fine. You just need to know what is it. If they have that, that box in the office with a ton of paper there, and that's where they keep everything, that's a problem. And it's an opportunity, right, Liz?
Absolutely. And I just want to say something really quick. I mean, all the times that we bought property, from small single family homes to literally large apartment complexes, the chances of an owner / seller being completely upfront with all the information, the bigger the deal, the more is kept out. So just keep that in mind. Don't expect people to lie to you, but expect that you need to, do your own homework, because the chances of them being completely upfront, they are selling the property. There's always reasons for that. So please keep that in mind. Not that people are trying to lie to you. We've had that happen too, but the chances of them giving you everything you need to the T is very rare in this business.
Absolutely. So the first thing that I would recommend you requesting information is your environmental phase 1. Okay, this was going to show you the liabilities that you possibly might have during regarding your property and the properties around it. And there's a funny story. Matt and I were evaluating, I think it was 60 units, 75 units, I don't remember, in Philadelphia. And we asked for the environmental, and the guy said, oh, we have it. And we're like, great. So we can, save time and money hiring somebody to do that. And then they send us this document from 1960s, right? I think it was typed, actually. like with that, those
Oh, like a
machines.
typewriter. Oh my gosh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old school.
Old school. We're like, this already, like that doesn't mean anything, right? We aren't, I think it was 2 years ago, something like that, 2020. We that is not going to cut, right? So evaluating from a good source, you got to evaluate when was it done, it is still valid. You want to have something that it can, if it was 6 months ago, I would say great, no problem. But 1960s, not so much, right? Not so much. A lot of things happen between then and now around that neighborhood that might have affected the soil. So keep that in mind. The other items is like major items like roof and all your mechanicals. Ask when the roof was replaced, changed, adjusted. Is there any information about that? There is not. If you're getting a bigger property, get a roofer there just to, take a quick look. And the mechanics, those are high cost. You want to make sure you understand. Is it oil, gas, electric? What is it? Right? There's so many different options. And the older the property is, you're gonna look at those monsters machine. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like a scientist experiment happening over here. You might not be familiar with it. Regardless, you've got to understand what is the condition of the current system, how old it is, or if it's like, oh, this equipment here, the average life cycle is 7-10 years, and it was installed quite at that time, right? 7 or 10 years ago. So you know that you need to consider those replacements pretty soon. Don't assume that everything is gonna, last forever, because it won't. So consider what it will be the cost for replacing those mechanicals. So the other item that I would say is also the inspections, right? Multifamily, I don't know where many of you are, but in Philadelphia, we need sprinklers, right? So you want to check when was that sprinkler checked, and it's yearly inspection that needs to be done. And usually the tag is right there. So take a quick look. Who is the company that is maintaining it? And if they didn't maintain, you gotta see what's up with that and how much it will cost. If it is not working, how much it will cost to replace just a couple, many of them. And the reason why I'm saying this, I don't want to get too technical with sprinkler, but in the past, the water system and was very different than now. So many times you've got to replace the water coming through. You cannot use, many times you cannot use the existing water pipe coming through. You have to have a dedicated line. So don't assume things. And if you're not aware, I'm not an expert in sprinkler systems, but contact a sprinkler company or contact the one that is doing the maintenance there and say, what's going on here? Can you give me a scope? Can give me cost of maintaining it or replacing it or whatever needs to be done. So keep in mind the mechanicals, like heat and cooling, right? Because your tenants, that's a must, right? And gas, electric for the heating and cooling. You've got to take a look at that, because they cannot be in your property without those basic stuff, right? So but those are bigger ticket items that you take a look. And the reason why I'm saying that, because code changes, the codes for different things changes. So many times those mom and pop places are completely outdated. And if you're going to do add value, going to add value and do a lot of construction, you will have to update the code. So don't assume everything will stay as it is, right? So if the mom and pop properties didn't have a sprinkler system before, guess what? You're gonna have to install it. And there's no other way around unless you're just throwing some paint and just not looking at it, right? But I don't quote me on that because things change all the time. The other thing, the number 3 item that I'm going to talk about is income. Obviously, you need to check all the rent income and different. Wow, I am already 10 minutes over here. Jesus. All right, I'm going to wrap it up soon. So the rent income, you're going to check how much is coming in, obviously, but you also want to check, are there other income that came in from laundry, from anything else that can add on? Liz, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen spreadsheets created by the seller's representative, the realtor or whatever, that were basically created. And then they barely matches what it really is. So it was just like an assumption. The numbers are very rounded. So
Sure.
the spreadsheet does not mean anything. You've got to have either a property management report or a bank statement, something official that shows people paying, especially with COVID, right? Are they really paying for it? Is it going to the account? And same thing with my 4th item is the expenses. What are the expenses? And I want to see the entire cycle. What do I mean by that? Let's say utilities. Who pays what, right? I want to know the entire season, the entire cycle. So 12 months, I would like to see it, because don't give me the past 3 months, because that would be very different for utilities. If you're summertime, wintertime, it really differs. So you want to see the entire thing to see if there's any, commonality or things really change from that standpoint. The last thing is condition of the property, right? Of course, you want to check all the units. Sometimes it's not, but you checking the majority of the units going to give you a very good sense of what's going on the other units, because then you're doing the math inside your head. When you go inside a unit, you're doing the math. Okay, replace kitchen, replace bathrooms. Oh, the floor looks great. Are all the floors like this? Yeah. Or, so you're doing the math in your head when you are looking at the conditions of the units. So you look at the interior and also the exterior. You want to make sure there's no like major cracks or anything. So the trick over here is your eye needs to be in 4 corners at all times. 4 corners. And I'm looking around here as I speak with you. So those are my 5 tips for must-have due diligence.
Love it. Love it. And it's so important. And due diligence is absolutely critical. And it's like a muscle, right? You get better every time you do it, and you just add upon the checklist and what have you. So great stuff as always. And ladies, with all of our minisodes, with all of our episodes, with everything we do, it's all about taking one step forward. Take something from this minisode, put it into action, share with us on our Facebook community. We love hearing from the women on this journey with us. So thanks for being on our journey with us, and thanks for listening.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to receive updates on our next interviews, go to our website, therealestateinvestor.com. There, you can subscribe to our show, become part of our investor community, and get updates on upcoming episodes.
If you like our show, please share with other women who would benefit. And don't forget to leave us a rating on iTunes. We'd really appreciate it. And as always, we encourage you to take one action as a result of today's show and put it into motion so you can live both a financially free and balanced life. Thanks for spending time with us.
Ciao.